Choosing the right crypto miner at home in 2025 can be a tedious task. With so many options on the market, different price ranges, different power requirements, different profitability, filtering through it all can often seem like an absolute nightmare. But today I'm going to break that all down for you. We're going to look through my top picks for Bitcoin, Kaspa, and Dogecoin ASICs that are all silent, profitable, easy to set up, and most of all, you can have them online within 10 to 15 minutes of receiving them at your door. So today, let's get through all the ins and outs to help you make a more informed decision as to whether this might be something for you, or just so you can get a little more idea of what's involved as far as costs and profitability. Let's get into it. All right, let's start off with everyone's favorite, I think, Bitcoin. We're over here on CryptoMinerBros.com. We're looking at the Canaan Avalon Q Bitcoin miner. It does come in at $1,739, so a reasonable price tag if you're looking to get into this sort of stuff. I do have some discount codes for this as well, which we'll link in the description if you want to save a bit of money on that. But more importantly, the specifications. So this is the SHA-256 algorithm. That's the algorithm that Bitcoin operates on. It's got a solid 90 terahash per second at 1674 watts. So this will be the most power hungry unit that we're looking at today, but it is very, very efficient still when you look at compared to some of the older models. So the sizing we won't go too much into. It's basically like a rectangle standing on its side. You'll see the shape of some of the others that we're looking in here now, but a pretty good looking unit. So it's not necessarily an eyesore. 45 to 65 decibels, so noise won't be an issue. You can have this in your house. You will hear some fan noise if you're looking at getting one of these, but you know, it's not like some of these old ASICs that sound like a plane taking off or a jet engine when the fans ramp up there. Absolute nightmares. Don't recommend doing that. Always get them hosted off-site if that's what you're thinking. Can be run on 110 to 240 volt. Standard outlets here in Australia are 10 amp 240. That gives you up to 2400 watts maximum capacity. I wouldn't recommend using that. Down in the 110 amp range, 110 volt range, sorry. Do not run this on a 110 volt 10 amp outlet. You will blow the outlet. You'll need at least 15 amps 110 if you want to run this safely. And even still, you're getting pretty close up there to your 80% rule of your outlet capacity. So how much does it make exactly? Well, over here on miningnow.com, I will also leave this link in the description if you want to check up any of your prices. At a 10-cent electric residential rate, that's USD. Look, that's probably slightly better than some people can get. That's about what I've got. So if you want to check your own numbers, come here and enter in your own electric rate. So as far as the income, daily $595, monthly $167, and yearly over $2,000 in revenue. Now, of course, electricity comes out. That will be determined by your rate. Only $1.57 at the moment with the current Bitcoin price. That's per day. $46.96 per month and $574 per year. So you could expect to be about a 3-year ROI, 3.5-year ROI if the price of Bitcoin doesn't change. I think it's going to keep going up, but you can make your own decisions on that one. The next Bitcoin miners we're looking at are a little bit different. Now, these are solo miners. So unlike pool mining with the Avalon Q, where you get paid out a certain amount per day, these are solo mining. So you only get paid if you hit a block. But if you hit a block, you get 3.1 or so Bitcoin, over $300,000. The chances are very, very, very small that you'll hit one, but you've got to be in it to win it, right? And the prices are much lower accordingly. So this is on powermining.io. These prices you see here are in Australian dollars. So when you come to the website, if you want to have a look, it will convert these prices to your local currency. So, you know, about 120 US dollars for the Bitaxe Gamma. That's a 1.1 terahash unit. And around 500 or so US dollars, maybe a little bit less for the NerdQaxe++. Now, I have done videos on these before. I'll put some cards up above if you want to check them out. But very basically, this is your smaller version, 1.1 terahash. This NerdQaxe is about 5 terahash. So as far as value for money, the NerdQaxe much more better cost per hash rate score on it. So it's all about what you've got to spend, obviously. So, you know, get whichever one you want, get none of them. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just here to give you a bit of information on what they are. Now, you can also pool mine with these, but they make like nothing, right? So the Bitaxe Gamma, as we can see, 3 cents. The NerdQaxe, 12 cents. So if you wanted to pool mine with them, I haven't tested how to do that. I'm just assuming it's like anything else. You just put it on a pool and it hashes away. But, you know, very low power, 72 watts for the big boy. And the Bitaxe Gamma, 17 watts. Now, these numbers I've found are a little on the low end. So expect it to be a little higher, but you know, it's like running a few light bulbs in your house. You'd never notice the cost of these. These are just like lottery miners, right? You set and forget them, and then hope one day you look at your wallet and you end up making, you know, $300,000. Very, very unlikely, but apparently it's happened before, according to a few people on Twitter. So these are really, really cool units. I really like them. I've got both of these. I want to get a few more. Entering the lottery every day. I would rather spend, you know, a third as much money on one of these and never make my money back than look at the Avalon Q and make a couple of dollars a day. But everyone's different, right? I have miners that are making about the same as this anyway, and I still like them. So it's all a mental game, but the Canaan Avalon Q is the best at-home Bitcoin miner you can get. Some of the other stuff we're going to move on to now into the Dogecoin and that's on the script algorithm, and Kaspa miners are much better options if you're looking to make the most money for at-home mining. Next up, Dogecoin. The VolcMiner D1 Mini Pre. This is a really, really cool little unit. I've got one of these. I'll leave a card up above if you want to check out the review on these. Coming in at just over 1,500 bucks. All the same stuff here on CryptoMinerBros. The free shipping, the PSU. It's an inbuilt PSU, right? So there's nothing external. You just plug a power cable into the back, plug it into the wall, and you're away. So this Dogecoin miner, like all Dogecoin miners, is on the script algorithm. It's 2.2 gigahash with 500 watts. So if you had a 110 10 amp outlet, you'd be completely safe with that. Wouldn't be an issue. You can see the voltage down here, 90 volts all the way up to 260. So very, very silent again. I can, like I said, link the card. You can check that out. You can't hear these things at all. Really, really easy plug and play miners. Quiet, so far so good. And most importantly, they're profitable. So at the moment, income versus profit, $3 a day revenue, $1.86 profit after electricity, monthly, $55 worth of profit, and yearly $677 worth of profit. So at current prices, this is close to about a 2.5 year ROI if you look at it that way. But Dogecoin at the moment is about a 4x away from all-time highs. I really like Dogecoin, so I think there's a good chance it could get back up there. So this just under $700 per year. If you are mining for a year, it hits the all-time high. You'd have this thing paid off in under a year. If everything goes right, of course, and that would be at what, about $2,800, $2,700 for the first year. So it's all a gamble. You may not make your money back also. That is something to remember. The beauty of these script miners as well is you can mine on a program called NiceHash. Check out my video on that one, and you can mine straight into Bitcoin. You could keep the Doge, sell it, and into Bitcoin if you wanted, or into USD. But you've got options there. You don't just have to mine straight Dogecoin and get paid out. and grab some Bitcoin with this if you like. The next Dogecoin miner we're looking at, I've just got in myself, the Fluminer L1. So this is significantly more expensive, but as you'll find, is significantly more profitable than the VolcMiner D1 Mini. So think of the D1 Mini as your starter Dogecoin miner for at home, and the L1 is kind of your big boy Dogecoin miner, but still very sleek, very easy to set up, and reasonably low power compared to some of those big ASICs. So power supply included again. So just a plug into the wall, very easy to set up. It has the setup details and IP on the screen that you can see right here, if you can see my little mouse. Yep. So very easy to use. I'll leave a card for that one as well. More than twice the hash rate, 5.6 gigahash, but also significantly higher power consumption. This is 1300 watts. Now mine actually uses around 1250, but again, compare on the voltage, 110 compatible, 240. So you can run this on a household outlet. You wouldn't run this on a 110 10 amp. You'd be maxing out the power outlet again. I've heard people try and do that. Do not do it. It is risky. If you're gonna spend the money, upgrade your power outlet to a 15 amp if you've got the capacity, because you don't want to spend $3,500 on a unit, plug it into your standard outlet that doesn't draw enough power, and end up, you know, causing a fire, ruining the machine. Spend the money, speak to an electrician, and upgrade if you need to. But on any other 10 amp 240s like we have in Australia, and I think in most of the world, no dramas at all. You got plenty of headroom there, nothing to worry about. The noise, 45 decibels. This is a little on the low end. This does have 6 fans, 3 at the front, 3 at the back, and 2 on the PSU. So this is definitely louder than the Volc 1 D-Miner Mini. Something to consider, but still not loud, you know, by conventional terms with ASIC miners, but definitely something to remember. This would be more suited to put in a back room somewhere, in your mining room, in a shed if you don't care about dust and ruining your hardware. Don't do that, that's a joke. But yeah, definitely something to consider a little bit louder. Looking at the profitability of this, income $7.70, $2.30 a month, just under $3,000 a year. But at a 10-cent electric rate, you're looking at $4.65 a day, $139 a month, and just under $1,700 per year. So this is closer to a 2-year ROI at current prices. You get a 4x on Dogecoin, like we all hope will happen, and this will be paid off in 6 months. So call it hopium. Don't take my word for that. It could not happen. It could all go to zero, but I'm playing the optimist here and hoping that we at least get a 2x, meaning that, you know, this machine would be paid off in 2 years. Fantastic. But we'll find out. Sorry, 1 year, just over 1 year. Can't do maths apparently. Again, can use this because it's script on NiceHash, get paid out in Bitcoin. You can merge mine it and get some Litecoin, some Doge, some Bells coin as well, and a couple of other little coins like Pepe coin with it. Slightly less profitable, but that's what I'm doing. Spread the bag as far as you can. Now, one of the best things about these Dogecoin miners, other than the fact you can, you know, mine straight into BTC, is the efficiency. Efficiency, if you've heard me before, guys, is what's going to keep you online the longest. So over here again on miningnow.com, searching in the Dogecoin miners or the script algorithm miners by efficiency at the top. So we can see the Fluminer L1 here and the VolcMiner D1 Mini Pre right below it. They're almost as efficient as the very best gear you can buy. But you see the power requirements on some of these. You need specialized hardware and outlets to run these. These are not standard home miners, and they're also ridiculously expensive, 10 to 20,000 some of these. But you can see, you know, you're making a fair amount more money. But, you know, within the top 6 or 7 as far as the most efficient Dogecoin miners on there. They're brand new, easy to use, really, really good. Glad I've got myself 2 of these. And if you're looking at getting any miners, not just the ones we're looking at today, efficiency is everything. Remember that. It's probably one of the most important things you need to know about crypto mining. cheap electric, as cheap as you can get, and as efficient miners as possible, which means, in layman's terms, the highest hash rate for the lowest power output. Now, the last section we want to look at today is Kaspa. So Kaspa mining has been raging over the past year and a half or 2 years. You know, it's been a lot more mainstream. Those who got in early have done really, really well. I have a few Kaspa miners, but they're the bigger ASICs that are hosted. I do not have one of these KS7 Lites, but I do know a lot of people who have, and I have got other very similar style box miners from IceRiver. So you can grab these from Miner Bros if you wanted to, or from IceRiver. There'll be links, like we said, down in the description. All the good stuff again with Miner Bros that you love. The free shipping, the PSU is inside the box, just under $1,000. So this is a really good entry point miner if you wanted to get into it and spend as little as possible. Specifications on it: 4.2 terahash for 500 watts. So I remember when these first, I think it was the KS0 Ultras came out. I think they were 400 gigahash for 100 watts. So these are a lot more efficient. 55 decibels. I don't have one, but I'm assuming because they're the same box miner style, they're probably slightly less than that, on par with the VolcMiner D1 and quieter than the L2. So it's basically a short little rectangle again, 200 by 110 by 202. As far as your voltage, you can run it on, you know, anywhere from 100 to 240. In this case, your 110 10 amp outlets would be sufficient. Really, really easy, low power, and easy to set up as well. 180 days warranty on these as well. That's if there's an issue with the hardware. I should mention it can mine other coins on the K heavy hash algorithm like Cedra. There's another one called Bugner, I think it is, and NiceHash compatible again. Checking out the profitability. At the moment, these are making just over 87 cents or around 90 cents a day USD at 10-cent electric. So, you know, there's not huge profit margins there by any means. I think Kaspa, when we were talking about, you know, all-time highs, needs about a 2x to get back up there. So if it got back up there, which I would love it to, but, you know, there's a lot to do before we get to there. Just under $2 or $1.80 a day, it might be making. That case would put it at about a sort of 2.5 or 1.5 year ROI, I should say. But on a more conservative sort of expectation, I'd assume this will take a few years, or it may never pay itself back, depending on what new hardware comes online. There's a ton of new Kaspa ASICs coming out all the time. For my sake, I'm hoping that the hype has died down and the hash rate will stay low on the network, but you never know. Same with Script. You can mine on NiceHash and get some Bitcoin if you believe, you know, you might have better chances stacking Bitcoin. There's the Bugner and the Cedra as well, but as you can see, they're far less profitable than Kaspa itself or even NiceHash. One of the really good things about this KS7 Lite, of course, is the efficiency. It's the third most efficient miner you can buy. So with that alone, you could stay online for as long as possible. You're giving yourself the best chance, if you wanted to buy a Kaspa ASIC with the KS7, of staying online the longest outside of the big KS7. Sorry, did I say the KS7 before? The KS7 Lite. But yes, outside of the larger ASIC, the KS7, and the Bitmain Antminer KS7 being the two most efficient, there's not many more options as far as home miners for Kaspa ASICs at the moment that are actually making money. So a good little starter miner, lower investment, some profit. If you needed to do some mental gymnastics with this, you could say, well, it is profitable. I really like Kaspa, so in theory, I'm buying it at a discount every single day. That's one way I've convinced myself in the past, but you know, $1,000 is $1,000. Still a lot of money to spend for a little return on a gamble. So those are my top picks for Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Kaspa. We looked at the Avalon Q, that's a dual miner for Bitcoin, and those little solo miners. I love those little things. Like I said, I've done a couple of videos about them. Check them out if you want to know just a little bit more. You may make nothing. You may like make an absolute boatload of money. More likely you'll make nothing, full transparency, but still a lot of fun. People buy lottery tickets all day long, and make no money off them ever. So when I'm, showing people review videos on these solo miners, all of a sudden people are concerned about spending money on the lottery, right? That's just the way the internet and YouTube goes. But really like those little mini miners. Script miners, I've got both of those. If you were going to pick any, I would recommend either one of those two, depending on your budget. The KS7 Lite, good entry point. You can help figure out how to start mining, how to set these things up. A low noise, low cost, and in theory, low risk, depending on what your budget is. But I really like all of them. I'd take them all if I could, but that's not how it works. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you like any of these, if you got any of them, or even if it's a waste of money. Make sure you like the video if you learned something from this, and consider subscribing for a little bit more information. If you've got any more questions, we've got a nice active Discord link down in the bottom where people are chatting it up all day long, can answer questions for you. Everyone's very, very helpful. Appreciate your time. See you in the next one. Peace.